Hey math fans, we're going to learn how to make a Desmos activity. Let's get started. If you have never used Desmos activities before, you're in for a treat. This is a way that you can actually keep track of the students' understanding and learning while class time is proceeding, and everything's done in real time through the dashboard. So let's check out how to import some classes and get started on making our own Desmos activity. First thing you want to do is make sure you're at teacher.desmos.com. If you have not created an account, go ahead and create an account using redlandschools.net or just sign in using Google. The next screen will tell you to sign in using Google, and here you can see a place where you can manage your classes if you take a look in the left-hand column. If you have no classes imported, let's do that right now. Click Manage Classes, add a new class, and this will give you the option to import from Google Classroom. Once you've created an activity, or once you find somebody else's activity that you've decided to adopt as your own, you can now assign it to Google Classroom. That will appear on each student's Google Classroom assignment page, and it'll put a direct link to that activity in Google Classroom. It makes it really simple. Let's go down to the custom option in the left-hand corner because we're going to be making our own. Go ahead and click that button and then click New Activity. Let's title this activity. I'm thinking let's just do solving linear equations from Math 1. So I've titled mine Lesson 2, 3.1.2, Solving Linear Equations. And it will take you to a screen that looks like this. There's really nothing on it yet. We're on slide number 1. There's no writing. There's nothing on this slide. So the first thing you're going to want to do is either write a problem or maybe upload a problem. And then we're going to provide some spaces where the kids can actually respond. So let's go ahead and click on the note option. It's in the upper left-hand corner. This is where you can write information or you can write your own problem. So it brings up a screen that looks like this, and I have typed an equation. By the way, every single place where you can type in, there's an equation editor down at the bottom, which is super helpful. So I've instructed the students to solve this equation, show all their steps. So the next thing I'm going to do is provide a space where they can show all their work, which the best option is text input. The math input is really for just inputting maybe one equation or one value, but the text input is where they can explain their work. They can show multiple steps. So we're going to put text input. The box is appearing below the problem, but you can actually maneuver these boxes around, and I'll kind of show you that a little bit later. And if you ever want to preview, you click the preview button, what this would look like to the student. And so this is what the student preview would look like. It says solve 3x minus 5 equals 2x plus 10. Show all the steps. And that box right there will provide them plenty of room for them to show all their work. And notice there is an equation editor. So congratulations, you've just made your first slide. If we click on the plus symbol in the upper left-hand corner, that will create another slide. Again, we're starting from scratch, but this time, instead of writing our own problem, maybe you have found a problem that instead of typing out, maybe you just want to cut and paste it in there. But there are a few steps, so we're going to go over that. So let's do that right now. I found, one of the examples from the Math 1 book that can be located at Curriculum Engine. I'm going to use what is called the Snippy tool. And using the snipping tool, we're going to take a picture of whatever area of this PDF file, or this could be at a website or any sort of document that you might have. Let's take a picture of it, and then we're going to save it. We're just going to save it as a capture. So go up to File, and you have to do this every time, and it's kind of a pain, but I think if it's a long, involved problem, it doesn't take that long, and it's more worth it to copy and paste it in there rather than to try and do all the steps to actually type it into Desmos. So right now I'm saving it as, I'm just calling it capture, just on my desktop, no big deal. And there it is, the capture. I'm clicking save. Now what I'm going to do is back on Desmos, I'm going to click media. And then that's going to give me the option to choose a file to upload. And then it's right there under my desktop capture. So we're going to go ahead and there, boom, there's the problem. And then create another text box or text input location for the kids to submit their answer. And then let's put the second part of this equation too. I like to break things up for the kids. In other words, if we take a look at the preview screen, I like to have different sections. Like maybe I want to see one step and then part two of the question. Now notice that part two here is way bigger than part one as far as the font size is concerned. And you're going to run into that unless you're taking a snippy of exactly the same area. If you take a snippy of a smaller area, it actually makes it larger when you import the picture. You can mess around with that. If you don't mind the different font sizes, it's no big deal. I also enjoy the sketch tool. There's also the graph tool. There's the geometry tool, the table tool. There's a lot of tools on here that I would encourage you to check out. But the sketch tool is actually for what if you want to have the kids write out their work, but it's a little bit difficult if they're just using a mouse. So I hit the sketch tool button. It appeared on the left, but I want it to be on the right. I want them to see the question first. So I decided to grab those 3 bars and move the section to the right. And if you check the preview screen, this is what it would look like. Again, I probably wouldn't have all of these areas, or maybe you want to have all these areas. Give them a choice. Do they want to type, or would they rather write out their answer? So their answer might start to look like this that I've written for you here. Now, how do you assign a lesson? Well, there's an assign button in the right-hand corner on the main page of your activity. When you click on the assign button, it will give you the option which class you want to assign it to. But why do we do Desmos activities? Why is it so helpful to me anyway? It's because of the dashboard that's in real time. So when you click on View Dashboard, you can see where every single student is, maybe some of the slides they're having trouble with, which slides they're skipping. My favorite thing is that it'll tell me that the student hasn't even started yet, and then I'll put that up on the screen and go, these students have not signed in yet. Well, you guys better get moving. The dots represent a slide where a student has answered, and if you click on any one of those dots, you will see that particular student's response to whatever question you asked. If a dot is blank, like which I have circled here, and it's grayed out, that means they did not answer at all there. So that might be something that I want to follow up with them, like why couldn't they do that particular slide? Some activities and some slides will give you the option to have the slide graded, and if they've provided sufficient information, it will come up as a dot or a check mark, but if it does not have enough information and they got the answer wrong, it will come up as an X. So another way we can check for understanding. If you click on a slide and you want to see all the students' responses at once, and this is from the statistics unit when we're learning how to interpret the y-intercept for a prediction model, notice how I can see all the kids' responses at once. And if I keep scrolling down, I can see everyone who answered that particular slide. Great way to check for understanding. My advice to you is search Desmos activities before you create. Chances are someone's already done all the work for you, or at the very least you can copy what they've done and then maybe add in a few slides of your own. So definitely search before you create, and that way you can copy someone else's presentation, edit it, make it your own. So there is a search bar in the upper left-hand corner of the main Desmos activity screen, and there are all sorts of activities, the card sort activities, there's graphing activities. I encourage you to check all those out. There's also featured collections, and a lot of these have been approved by Desmos, so I encourage you to take a look at those as well. Hey, good luck, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions.